to our Thursday live show about sleep sciences. We are always happy to have you here, and welcome to the people who are new and are repeat offenders, as we like to call them. So first things first, I just want you to be aware, if you come to these shows every week, that it is quite possible that as of next week, the location of the show might change. So we may be moving it off of Zoom and into a live stream. We're trying to figure out the best way to go about doing this, since Facebook has removed the ability to Zoom straight inside of the group, unfortunately. So if you're catching this as a replay inside of the group, that would be why. So today we're going to be talking about the science of pediatric sleep. When you become a parent, there are a few subjects that become kind of obsessive, in the sense where you must know everything about it. You've read articles about it. You've downloaded apps for it. You've joined groups for it. And those are usually breastfeeding, if you're trying to breastfeed, pregnancy and birth planning, if you're expecting. And then once that gorgeous little baby comes and you've figured out how to feed them, either by breastfeeding or bottle feeding, then comes the sleep. Now, every once in a while, you can get lucky and get a unicorn baby that just naturally sleeps fantastically. But for the rest of us common folks, and those who were handed with high-spirited babies, sleep does not always come super easily. So who here has downloaded an app at some point, or read a blog article, or maybe even a book about sleep, or found yourself at 3 in the morning feeding your baby to sleep, reading something about sleep to try and figure out why your baby keeps waking up, or why your toddler still refuses to sleep because you were told that this was supposed to get better by the time your baby was 6 months old, right? So Megan says, using the Huckleberry app to try to predict his nap times. All of the above. Exactly. So it becomes, sleep becomes something quite complicated once you have a baby. Why? Well, because it's a rare occurrence. And I don't know if you can remember back to the early years of your 20s, right? Or when you were 18, 19, 20, 21. For some of us, it's a long time ago. But if I remember well, I wasn't too concerned about the amount of sleep I was getting. We would willfully choose to go out until 2 or 3 in the morning, right? And go to bed at 4 and be super exhausted the next day. We would just choose to sleep less, right? Because we had an abundance of available sleep at other times. Now, a really good, romantic, sexy gift from your spouse is the ability to go to bed early, or to take a really long nap during the day, right? Our love and appreciation for sleep changes substantially, right? If you meet a new mom and you ask her how your day was, it was either or awful because they didn't sleep, or they're like, oh, it was fantastic. And you ask them why, and they're like, I had a nap on the couch and it was so good that I salivated on the couch. That's how you know if a nap was truly, successful. So sleep becomes elusive, and thus we start appreciating it a whole lot more, right? Going out until 3 in the morning, show up to work at 7:30. Today, hard pass, hard pass. There's 2 reasons for that. We have tiny little tyrant bosses who require us to stay alert, right? And smart and effective throughout the day, those tiny humans, right? And then second of all, I hate being the bearer of bad news, but you and I, most of us anyways, you ain't 20 anymore, honey. We can't get away with the same type of things, right? We get 1 glass of wine too many and we pay for it the next day, right? It's not the same game anymore. Now, if you're struggling with sleep, then comes the sleep complications, because you research everything, you read everything, you download the apps, and let's be honest, every single time you open an article about sleep, or you read an email about sleep, or you get, the famous book about sleep, they always make it sound so simple, right? If you just put your baby down for a nap at this time and this time and this time, and you rub his back with this cream and put him in his cute little sleep sack, and you put him down awake but drowsy, okay, like a ticking time bomb, he's going to sleep better. They make it sound so simple, right? Some will actually pay to have access to courses, I'm not going to name them, who then basically repeat the same things, right? And just let them fuss, let them fuss. They'll eventually fall asleep. And now here's the thing. Those beautiful things work when you have a unicorn baby who's already naturally a great sleeper. If you have a baby that doesn't sleep well, you can rub whatever cream you want on the back of their necks. They're not going to sleep. If you put them drowsy but awake in their bed, they're going to cry like an axe murderer has entered their room. It's not going to happen, right? They're going to look like they need an exorcism. It's not going to work, right? No magic cream is going to get your baby to sleep. No magic sleep sack, including the one that's called the magic sleep sack, will make your baby to sleep. They've even come out with this, I think it's called the Merlin suit, where it basically looks like a winter suit and the baby's like this and can't move, and that's supposed to somehow make them sleep better. Some of these tools can give you an extra hour, for a week or two, if you're really lucky, but they don't last. They're not a full solution, and they're most definitely not a long-term solution. And so we need to stop talking about sleep problems as being these overly simplified things, right? That can be fixed with creams or essential oil patches, and what have you, right? The most recent one I've seen is vitamins. Your toddler doesn't sleep because he needs vitamins. Look, everybody can benefit from a vitamin, but unless that vitamin has Xanax in there, the toddler's not going to sleep any better. It's just not going to, no. And unless that sleep sack has chloroform in it, he ain't going to sleep better. There's two alternatives when it comes to sleep problems. I want you, if you remember anything from this session, as we dive into this content, there's just two ways that you can fix a true sleep problem. We're not talking about the unicorn babies and what have you. We can help with unicorn babies. I'm talking about the babies with real sleep problems. Like, you have moved bedtime. You know what time they're supposed to go down for a nap. They just won't do it, right? Once you have those sleep problems, there's two ways to fix it. Drug your baby. That's one solution. Or sleep education. It's really the only two ways that you can fix sleep problems of that level. Drugs or sleep education. Now, I don't recommend the first one. Okay? It could have side effects. You could get into trouble. No, it's not recommended. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it to your husband. I'm saying you shouldn't do it to your toddler. That's an entirely different subject. I'm not a sleep consultant for adults. But I'm saying for your kid, you shouldn't, okay? So second option is sleep education. So let's talk a little bit about that whole concept. Sleep training versus sleep education. Because by showing you the difference between sleep education and sleep training, it will allow you to understand your child's sleep problems better. And as you're going to learn, that is the key to fixing sleep problems. Who here has in the past been in a sleep group or blog or whatever and asked for help or searched for help, and you were given a tip, a trick, a piece of advice for you to attempt, either wanted or unwanted, by your mother-in-law or your mom or your aunt or the neighbor, and you were given a piece of advice, and you may or may not have tried it, but you didn't feel so sure about it. Like, they gave you that piece of advice and you're like, this is not going to work for my baby. Like, this is going to make things worse, or forget about it. That sounds terrible. Like, it's just not a solution for me. But the person telling you to do it was absolutely convinced that it was the solution. And here's the thing. It is quite possible that for their child, that tip actually did help. Does that have any weight on determining if it will help for your baby? Absolutely not. And that's where we need to get to. Sleep training, generally speaking, is a very general thing, right? Think about it. People sell pre-recorded courses or pre-made PDFs, right? Of like how to get your 4-month-old to sleep, how to get a 6-month-old to sleep. We're making the assumption that all babies are at the same standpoint in terms of sleep, that all 6 months old are at the same point, that the source of their sleep problems are exactly the same, that the baby in itself has a similar personality, because we're assuming that 6 months olds don't have personalities in essence, and that the sleep solution will be the same. Hi, Annabelle, welcome. So that is where the problem starts, right? Let's take 2 6-months old and do our little experiment on them. Let's say I have, you know what? Actually, we're going to take people in this room, okay? Let's assume that, what age is your baby, Annabelle? And Jenna, you have a newborn, right? A relatively young baby, okay? So let's say we're taking, Annabelle's baby and Jenna's baby. You're my targets because you're at the top of the list here, okay? He's 12 weeks. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect because Jenna, yours is about 9 weeks, right? He's pretty young. So we have 2 babies very close to the same age, okay? Now, let's assume that Annabelle's baby right now, the problem she's experiencing is that he's upset all evening long. He will not go to bed. It's really, really difficult. And as a result, he only goes to bed at like 1 a.m. And then he wakes up twice during the night. So the big problem is the fact that he's going to bed only at 1 a.m. And then for the few hours of sleep that they're supposed to get, there's 2 wake ups in there, right? And naps are, well, she has to hold it for naps, okay? This is a really pretty serious problem. And then let's assume that Jenna's baby goes to bed just fine. He goes to bed at 8. It's great. However, he likes to wake up twice. And on his second or third wake up around 4:30 or 5 in the morning, he's up for the day. I'm making assumptions. This is probably not your real scenario, but he's up for the day. Okay. We have 2 babies of about the same age. Do they have the same sleep problem? No. One is struggling with bedtime and has wake ups during the night. One has wake ups during the night, but is struggling with getting up too early. We have opposite sleep problems. In fact, yes, there's a little bit of overlay. Ultimately, they're not getting enough sleep. Ultimately, they are getting wake ups during the night, right? Or additional wakes that shouldn't be happening during the night. But there's also that massive difference between he won't go to bed and he gets up in the morning at like 4 a.m. and starts his day. So we have 2 entirely different sleep problems. So let's say I tell Annabelle, well, you just need to put him to bed earlier. That's usually what happens, right? You need to put your baby to bed earlier. And Annabelle's like, that's cute. I know that, but I've been trying, and he doesn't want to. He's like Jen when she was 19 years old. He wants a party, right? So even if you tell her to go to bed earlier, she's like, not gonna happen. And baby's the same way, right? And then we tell Jenna the same thing. If you put your baby to bed earlier, he might sleep in longer in the morning. Well, that might actually help Jenna. Because if Jenna's bedtime is 10 p.m., we're cutting out 2 to 3 hours of those deep sleep cycles that are supposed to happen in the beginning of the circadian rhythm. And that can cause more superficial sleep during the rest of the night. And as a result, when he gets up for a reasonable feed at his age, around 4 in the morning, he may not be able to go back to sleep. So that trick that, whoever recommended it swore by might very well help Jenna. It might have a disastrous effect for Annabelle. So the concept that because these babies are the same age, the solutions to their sleep problems are going to be the same, not going to work. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that me, Jenna, Megan, Alana, Samantha, Joe, we probably all wear a different size of pant. We probably all prefer a different type of underwear. Okay, we're all very different. And, I'm very much into the sports bra, but who knows? Maybe Samantha needs to have a wire in hers. I don't know. She's her. And, we're different. Ask me the same questions in 3 years. I might like the wires. Okay. Every baby is different, even if they have the same age. Now, I'd love to be Samantha Joe's age, but I'm not. But we're going to pretend for the purpose of this presentation. Okay. We're going to pretend we're as young and fresh as she is. Now, so the same age as a starting point, not a good way. So to start with, the whole sleep training courses or PDFs that say, this course is for 0 to 4 months old, it's hoppycosh. Okay. You may glean some helpful advice like, oh, ideally, your 3-month-old should be going to bed at 6:30, and ideally, your baby should be getting a feed at 3 in the morning. All it's going to do is, if your baby's doing that, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm so good. And then you're going to start doling out advice to everybody, right? Or if your baby naturally doesn't do that, you're going to start screaming at the screen, getting upset with the screen, take the remote, press all the buttons to see if it'll fix the problem. And your husband's going to go beside you, or you're going to feel like, I must have done something wrong. I must have misunderstood something in the class. It's probably because I fed him to sleep and my mother-in-law told me not to feed him to sleep and it's all my fault. But in fact, it's not. It's that the assumption that because your babies are the same age, the solution is going to be the same is different, right? Exactly. Don't pay for those courses. Somebody dropped the link to our seminar. It's going to be much more helpful, provide you with a lot more information, and free of charge. Okay. If you want an actual help from a consultant, book a call with us and we'll talk about solutions to that, because we use sleep education. So the first thing is, the link is in the chat there. So the first thing is the assumption that because they're the same age, that they're going to have the same sleep problem, which we saw is not the case, right? In this fictitious example, Jenna and Annabelle both have babies of relatively the same age with entirely different sleep problems, right? Now, the other thing is, let's say Alana and Samantha, Joe, no, Alana and Megan. Okay, in this story, you both have 9-month-olds. Okay, and you both have 9-month-old babies who have what it seems like relatively similar sleep problems. They both fight bedtime for exactly 2 hours. Damn, I'm good today. I'm pairing people really well. She does have a 9-month-old. It's just psychic ability. No. So let's say they both have a 9-month-old and they're both fighting for exactly 2 hours to go to bed. Once they do fall asleep for bedtime, they sleep for about an hour and they both wake up like a clock at 10 or 10:30 p.m. to get fed again. And then they sleep all the way until 4 a.m. And then they wake up at 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 a.m. Okay. Super, super common sleep problem for a 9-month-old. Okay. So they both have a baby of exactly the same age and they both have the same sleep problem. Will the same plan work for both Alana and Jenna? Alana and Megan this time. I need to put name tags on you. Okay, so knowing this, I want to know what you think. They're the same age and they have the exact same problem with sleep. Can we fix it with the same plan? Megan says no. Jenna's like, I don't know. I'm having exam anxiety. Could be yes, could be no. Come on, just put in the answer. I'm grading you. No, I'm not. Alana says no, because they could have different underlying issues. Okay. Anybody else? Come on. Same age, exact same sleep problem. Like you basically copy pasted that baby. Okay. Megan and Alana had twins. The actual answer is you are right. No. The solution is going to need to be completely different, most probably, unless we're really, 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 really lucky and those babies have the exact same environment, the exact same parents, and the exact same personality. Now, what happens in our story is Megan and Alana are both inside of this sleep training tips and tricks support group on Facebook, and they both post that, they're having these sleep problems. And Karen, it's always Karen, right? Karen in that group, who thinks she's fantastic at sleep training because she sleep trained her 9-month-old last year, tells both Megan and Alana exactly what to do. That was the solution for her. And so she tells them something along the lines of, you're going to put your baby to sleep, and every single time he cries, you're going to pick that baby up and you're going to rock him until he's calm. And then you're going to put him down in the crib, and you're going to do that repeatedly 10 times. And after the 10th time, you're going to sit in the rocking chair in the room, but not touch the baby. And you're going to shush the baby and go back and tap him every 10 minutes. Okay. That's what she did for, I'm totally making something up, right? That's what she did for her baby, and it worked wonders. So she tells Alana and Megan to do the exact same thing because they have a 9-month-old and they have the same sleep problem. But here's what happens. Now, Megan's little baby, Toby, he responds really, really well to physical touch and comforting back to sleep. So when Megan comes to comfort him, he really does calm down. But the problem is, every time she goes to sit at the other end of the room, because the room is quite large, his name is Tucker. I'm so good, right? And because the room is so long, and she goes to sit in that chair, he starts freaking out. And he's learning how to stand up, so he grabs onto the poles of that crib and puts himself up, and then he falls backwards and he bangs his head on the side of the crib, and she has to come back and she soothes him, and he responds really well, and he goes back to sleep. So it's not really working for Megan because he can see her and he needs her to be closer to the crib. Now for Alana, on the other hand, when she's sitting in the corner of the room, her baby, Carl, it's not really a baby name, is that right? Carl. Carl, really, when she's sitting in the room is smaller, so he can see her and he's satisfied by it. He might fuss for 10 minutes at bedtime, but then eventually, she's shushing, and he does fall asleep ish. But the problem is, at the beginning, she's doing that pick up, put down thing. And Carl, well, that pisses him off really bad. And as a result, he never gets to lulling himself to sleep, because every single time she makes a shushing sound or she touches him or approaches him, he gets really, really angry, because they have completely different personality types. They have different room setups. We're not even talking about difference in parenting. Maybe Alana is breastfeeding and she smells like milk. So every single time she picks Carl up, she's like a walking steak, right? And so when she puts him down, he is angry. There's differences, even though these situations are so incredibly important. So the solution is that there is no one size fits all, very similarly to our pant sizes and our bra sizes and our underwear sizes. We have to do everything per the baby. And just like the pant example, there's not a one size fits all solution. Exactly. So the way to actually approach it is we have to really do a really good deep dive evaluation of your baby's sleeping history. Was there co-sleeping done? Was there no co-sleeping? Have you faced regressions? Are you going to face regressions? Their sleeping environment, their overall health, their overall development, right? Remember that Megan's baby is trying to learn how to stand, whereas let's say Alana's baby's perfectly content being on his bum, right? Differences in development, differences in health as well. Maybe Alana's baby has a history of getting COVID 3 times over the past 9 months. And as a result, he had trouble with coughing and breathing. And so there was like a period of like 2 to 3 months where he woke up a lot because he was coughing. And that's what stems where his sleep problems actually stem by, versus let's say Megan's baby, well, he's just been a terrible sleeper since the day he popped out, right? Different histories, different health, different personality types, different sleep environments. If we get all of the details, we can actually figure out the why, the exact why of Jenna's baby's sleep problems, of Annabelle's sleep problems, of Alana's sleep problems, of Megan's sleep problem. And we can determine not only what the solution is right now to improve sleep, but what are the particular risk factors in the future for that baby. Some babies sail through sleep regressions. Some babies hit every single one of them. So if we know that your baby's going to hit those sleep regressions hard, we're not going to wait for them to hit. Before they happen, we're going to make adjustments to make sure that it goes really, really well, right? Every baby is different. Every history is different. Every health history is different. If your baby has a history of getting ear infections, we need to take that into consideration, right? What your plans are for what room they're going to be in. Are they going to be room sharing with you, and for approximately how long? And with the first 2 to 3 to 4 years, every 3 months, they are in a completely different developmental milestone, right? Their nutritional needs change, their sleep needs change, their developmental needs change. So what is good for Toby today won't be good for Toby tomorrow, right? I know it's Tucker, but we're trying, we're not naming real people, right? We're trying to, we're maintaining anonymity. See, that's the French in me. There's when there's a lot of repetition in the same word, anonymity. Okay. So different babies, different solutions. Here's the thing. Once we know exactly why and within what conditions, right? The personality of the baby, the environment, etc., we can make super wise decisions at taking interventions that target that particular sleep problem, but that also will work well with that environment, with that history, and with that baby's personality type. A little bit like we saw, Alana's baby responds not well to physical touch, and Megan's baby does, right? We have to take those things into consideration. So there's not only the cause of the sleep problem, or what we call root causes, right? But there's also conditions within which that happens. There's also conditions related to mom. If mom has really, really, really bad postpartum anxiety, and she gets triggered into, having panic attacks, if, her baby cries at all, we need to know that. We need to make sure that we're approaching things in a very particular way, that that cannot happen at 3 in the morning when she doesn't have access to her consultant. She doesn't know what to do, right? We need to also know that if Jenna has not slept in 2 months and she's absolutely exhausted, maybe we need to hire daddy to help with this sleep plan. Because if we ask Jenna to pick up, put down for 2 hours in the middle of the night, she's going to crash and burn and sleep on the carpet next to the crib because she just doesn't have that juice in her. We can't do that, right? Different conditions. With a breastfed baby, there are interventions we could do that we can't do with a bottle-fed baby. And the same is true. There's some interventions that were fantastic for a bottle-fed baby, but if you try and do it with a breastfed baby, they're going to be like, no, thank you. I don't think so. Some babies will go to sleep if they're being rocked by either or parent. Whereas there's other babies that if you don't smell like mom, I may like you, but you can't put me to bed, right? So that further limits the situation. So that's why everything is different. And that's where sleep education is the right solution for most people who have, good sleep issues, because it goes down to the root cause instead of just a generalized approach based on the assumption that same age, same sleep problem, same personality, and same solution. So, as a reminder, you only got two choices. If you're trying to fix a sleep problem, one of them is illegal, and the other one is provided to you by the baby. So if you'd like to discuss more about that, I encourage you to actually sign up for a seminar. It starts on June 17th. It's going to be absolutely marvelous and beautiful because we have built a virtual world for you guys. We have literally built a world for you guys to attend this seminar. There's a yoga studio. There's a Serenity Gardens for meditation. Okay. There's even a banner that crosses the sky. There's little boats. There's a pavilion. There's a beach. We literally built a world for you guys, so come enjoy it. Mark your calendars. Invite all of your mom friends, sleep problem or not, invite them. Everybody could use a little bit of yoga and meditation and some get together with other moms, right? Let's be honest. If you have expecting moms, this is the kindest gift that you could do for them. Get them ready for the realities of having a baby, right? And bear in mind, guys, that we work on referrals, right? So if you refer somebody to us and they end up, utilizing any one of our services, you will get a referral fee and a referral thank you. Okay, which you can use for midnight shopping on Amazon or to purchase a Bee Baby program, whatever suits your needs, right? So have a beautiful and an amazing day. I'm going to ask somebody on my team to drop the link to my personal calendar, and I'm going to leave the room open for an extra minute. And if you'd like to consider, the link is there. If you'd like to consider if sleep education is a solution for you, or you need help with pregnancy or breastfeeding or just development and health, or your life in parenting as a whole, the calls are complimentary, which means there are no charges. We believe that you should get to actually meet us and ask us questions before you hire us, right? And you can book a call with us and we'll happily have a chat with you guys to see if this is right for you and answer all of your questions. Try and make sure that you book your call when you and your spouse can be present, okay? Oh, Megan, we have a call on Monday. Awesome. I look forward to it. All right. Well, have a beautiful day, guys. Thank you so much. You guys were a really cool little gang. We had a lot of fun. I love the interaction. It's always really nice when people, answer the questions, even if they can get it wrong. It makes it a whole lot more fun. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next week.